Thank you for tuning in to the show tonight. Of the thousands of you listening out there, or maybe it's just a couple of dozen, I'm not really sure, you account for 100 different beliefs. I think generally those of us in the Patriot community agree on a lot of basic things. Maybe about spirituality, pretty broad there. And about the New World Order, perhaps, and what's coming down the road in the near future and further than that. I think it's fair to say that we basically agree on those sorts of things. Maybe not when we get into the details, but it's because I think most of us would have to admit that we don't know the specifics or the details. I'm going to ask you to, tonight, suspend your beliefs for an hour or so and consider mine. Just consider them. When I'm done, you can always smirk and return to what's comfortable to you, and I'm sure most of you will. We do tend to revert back to what we believed before. Whenever someone presents us something new, it usually takes time for a new thought or an idea to actually be considered and picked up. That's why we are always planting seeds, right? But I've done over 500 shows, I'm sure, by now, in the past couple of years. And a few of them were accidentally pretty good, I think, but none have been or ever will be as important as this one. At least I think so. And I'm going to try to make it so. Not everybody, folks, is telling you the truth. And I'm not here tonight to tell you that I'm the one guy that is. I try hard. But I've got things wrong. I've got things upside down. And, but I have spent much of my life, attempting to find out what is really going on. On a three-dimensional world level, and a spiritual level, I think they're all tied together because we are more than just physical bodies, right? We're of mind, emotions, spirit. I believe that we are spiritual beings having a terrestrial 3D experience here. And I guess that has influence on the things that I'm going to share with you tonight. I'm certain it does, a matter of fact. But some people tell lies because they don't respect you. And some tell lies to get better ratings or to sell a few more books or maybe a few million more books, to get airtime, to grab fame, to get on television. And we got to be careful of that. We shouldn't be so gullible. And I have been duped more than anyone listening to me right now. And I think that gives me a heads up, because when I played the role of a sucker, a fool, I learned. I still fall for it. I still fall for some people that are pretty good. But whenever I'm trusting my own conscience, my gut instinct, I think they're the same thing. Just two different ways of describing it. I tend to be right most every time. And I really struggle to do it every day throughout the day. And I hope you guys start trusting your gut a little more all the time, because it will be right. But you believe a lot of lies and trust a lot of liars, I think. And in my version of how things are, we are living in the days of the Great Deception. Now, I know not all of you are real Bible thumpers, and nor am I. But I believe that a lot of profound truth can be found there. If you want specifics, though, because this is Conspiracy Tuesday, right? If you want the specifics, I suggest you read Tex Mars. He was on Jeff's show last night after my show over on Rinse Radio. Profound man. I've read a lot of Texas. I used to think that his name was Texas. I really did. Because they were always saying, well, Texas stuff, possessive. Yes. Tex Mars. Another one is Michael Tessarian. My gut tells me that guy's in there pretty deep. But like I warned before, be careful jumping into the darkness, folks, because seeking out what's really going on in the dark, think about this. The dark lies have no light in them, and you're in the darkness trying to find truth. It's really a catch-22, huh? If not impossible, it has got to be a real challenge. And if you're going to go into the darkness and research the depths of what's really going on at all levels, the spiritual level, the physical level, and the creepy mind level, you got to carry your own light. And that light can burn out before you escape the night, trapping you forever. You'll come out all screwy. I have read a couple of books. I haven't read them completely. I've breezed through a couple of books. The former emergency room doctor, Green. In his first book, he's such a smart guy, and he's, as you probably know, into the UFO thing this past decade. And I read going through the first book, and it's deep, it's intelligent, it's well written. And I go to his second book, which is a follow-up, and it just goes a whole different direction. And I think that happens a lot to people when they go to look at the mysterious. It's so unbalanced and dark and quasi. And I've warned you just a few nights ago, I guess it was late last week, that I believe the world is quasi, that it is and it isn't. And when you go in there, it's like Alice in Wonderland. It can get pretty freaky. And if you are assuming that the dark is where the truth is, my goodness, you could come out with all sorts of nutty, but legitimate, even logical perhaps, ideas of what's really going on. And I think you would be wrong-headed, at least initially. But eventually, you might be right on. And it's because you might create all that lie into something that's true. I have looked into the dark more often and longer than most people. I used to do it on the specifics, like Tex Mars. I used to go in there and read, and you noticed, if you've listened to my show, I don't talk specifics anymore, and I warn you about going in there, just like I did a minute ago. because I believe we can do more damage to ourselves and others if we do that. And that's why I started doing as Christ suggested, which is to ignore the evil and focus on the light, the truth, and the solutions. I am not in any way saying that others that seek what's really going on in the dark are lesser. I'm just saying I ain't strong enough to go in there and come out whole. Hang on.